right, welcome to Before You Say I Do. My name is Chris Carter, and this is Citi TV. If you are listening, it's 97.3 Citi FM. And of course, you know, this show is all about discussing or having those very important discussions that you need to have before walking down the aisle with that special person. I mean, we've talked about so many things, but I'm sure you're wondering, when are we going to be talking about the wedding preparation? All right, let's go on a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. It's Before You Say I Do, and like I said earlier before going on the break, I'm sure some of you are asking, when are we going to be talking about the whole wedding preparation? All right, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, because today we are going to be talking about wedding logistics. And joining us in the studio is Mrs. Gloria Buckman Yankson, Creative Director of Planet Ghana Limited. Hi, Gloria.
Hi, Chris.
How are you?
I'm good. It feels good to be here.
Ah, thank you. You are welcome.
Thank you.
Right, so before we get straight into the show, why do event planners like wearing black?
It's our uniform.
What is it with the black?
It's our uniform. It's easy to hide things, number one, because there's a lot that happens behind the scenes, all of the running around. And number two, we don't want to take over.
Right.
You know, we want to disappear into the background so the host can shine.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously, you know, Before You Say I Do, it's all about the preparations and the discussions that you have before walking down the aisle.
True.
Now, wedding logistics. What are some of the key logistic aspects that, you know, couples, husband and wife to be actually need to put into consideration while planning?
Okay, so if you are looking to get married, obviously one of the things when you start to plan your wedding, I think the number one thing is probably how much do we have to spend before you even start looking at what is it that we need to, or who is it that we need to employ. Okay, so the number one thing is how much money do you have available to spend? And then important as well is to just start thinking about your vision. Okay, your vision for the big day. How do you want the big day to pan out? How do you want it to look like? And I know that a lot of the times, this is like, a lot of people think this is a woman's side of things. Yeah. But we do have brides and grooms both, who come in and are equally interested in sort of what the vision will be. Right. So I encourage that, you know, the men also get involved and not just sit and wait for the amount that we are spending. So number one, your vision board. How do you want the wedding to pan out? What do you want to see? How do you want it to look like? Your color palette, your theme. How many people do you even want there? You know, how elaborate do you want it to be? How intimate do you want it to be? All of those things you need to start thinking about before you even start to think about the real logistics, as in what venue, what decor, what vendors. Those are all part of it, but the first thing is a vision. All right, so talking about vision and talking about theme, what's the craziest theme that you've ever worked on? The craziest
when it comes to weddings, because I know, like, we have different themes in our head. There's Cinderella, there's that, there's Greek, there's, you know, the Roman Empire and all that.
I think after 19 years, I've pretty much seen it all. But the first thing that comes to mind is Winter Wonderland here in Ghana.
Winter Wonderland
in
Ghana.
Yes.
As in winter?
As in like snow, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
For a wedding?
Yes. And I thought that was so exciting, especially as, you know, they were getting married in a tropical region like Ghana, to want to do a Winter Wonderland theme. We've had autumn theme as well. And usually these are couples that don't live here, non-resident Ghanaians. So I can see where the inspiration is drawn from. But yeah, like the whole snow, fake snow, of course, not real snow,
was made available.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about the budget, right? So when the budget is set, what's the next step?
Okay, so even with the budget, I think that it's important to know how many people you want to invite also, because that kind of determines how much you spend eventually. If you have 70 guests, your budget's going to be a lot different from somebody who is hosting 500 guests.
500.
Yes. So I would encourage to-be brides to put together a guest list first. Start thinking about roughly how many people you want to invite, and then start drawing up names of people that you actually want there. A lot of people say, oh, I would love 300 guests. 300 guests is a big number. It's a really big number. So put together your guest list. It will help you determine how much you want to spend, and start researching, start speaking to vendors. Obviously I'm a wedding planner, and I encourage everyone to hire a wedding planner, because you wouldn't build without an architect, same as I wouldn't encourage that you do all of this. It's really overwhelming, even for us professionals. So engage the services of a wedding planner. They will easily be able to tell you, just based off of your vision and the number of guests, how much you should expect to spend.
And I'm sure as a wedding planner, you've had to deal with couples disagreeing on the number of people to invite. There are people out there that maybe they've agreed that, we're going to invite only 50. And they have that mother that say, the whole village, women meeting, everyone is there waiting for you to marry. We can't invite them. So now how do you have to deal with that? Because obviously in Nigeria we see that a lot. There's women's meeting, there's a father's men's meeting, there is youth meeting. Everybody has to invite everybody in the meeting. The whole village is coming to your wedding. Yeah. So how do you have to
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here as a wedding planner. Make me the bad person. Say that the wedding planner says the venue can only take 100 people. It's okay. Let your mom come and fight me. It's okay. I'll take the blows for your behalf. But a lot of the times we get this, and it's usually not a disagreement between the couple or the bride and the groom per se. It's usually the bride and the groom against the family, the mother-in-law, the mom, the dad-in-law, and I see why, especially if they are maybe the firstborn or
always
the only child.
Firstborn girl, firstborn boy,
The mom wants to live that dream through her, or if it's the groom's mom. And I will say that it's really, really difficult to put your foot down, especially when you're getting married young. I wanted to invite 100 people. I ended up with 600 people at my own wedding.
From 100 to 600?
I didn't know half of the people there. And learning from that experience, I will say, please try the best that you can to put your foot down, especially when you're the one paying. If you're the one, it's a little bit more difficult if your parents are paying, because then the dynamics change, right? The power dynamics change. But especially where you are the one paying for it, because a wedding for 300 guests, 500 guests, that's a whole mortgage, So put your foot down, be assertive, and say, because in the end, it is really your day. It's not theirs.
Right.
So as much as you want to cater to them.
Yeah. So what about selecting a venue? What are some of the things that couples should look out for?
Oh, okay. So once you know the number of guests that you want to invite, then it becomes very easy to select the venue. So your theme, the number of people you want to invite. Then the next thing will be to start looking at different venues. If you know that, as an example, you want to put together an earthy, outdoorsy theme, then it will make sense to go for an outdoor wedding venue, which gives you all of those earthy tones. If you know that you want something like, as an example, winter wonderland, like we talked about in the beginning, then you know that you want a ballroom that allows you to create a very dreamy, contemporary look. So a lot of the times what I say to my own clients is, as much as possible, choose a venue that aligns with the theme that you have in mind, especially where budget is a restriction. Okay, because if you choose a venue that is opposite the theme that you want, then you end up spending so much trying to transform the venue, right? So the number of guests. When you go to the venues, even if you don't have a wedding planner, the venue can also advise you on how many guests that space can take. One of the things that you need to be aware of is that a lot of venues give you the size for a theater setup, which is the ceremony setup. So what you need to think about is, okay, what exactly am I using this venue for? If it's a ceremony, then the number of guests that they give you for theater style will work.
Yeah.
If it's the reception, then that's different, because now you have tables, you have a dance floor, you possibly have a stage, you have a backdrop. All of those things will start to eat away into the space that you have. So usually, if a space can take about 200 people theater style, I will say estimate about 70 people for the wedding reception for that same space, right? And also when you go to a venue, think about things like not just the number of guests that it can take, but what happens in an emergency. What is the plan B?
The exits and all that.
Look at the weather. If it's, a lot of the times when we talk about weather, people only think about what if it rains. What if it's hot and humid?
And everybody's sweating.
And it's a destination wedding. Exactly. And you have a lot of people, especially if you have a lot of people coming from a climate which is, you know, comparably cold. Then you have to think about, you know, supplying mist fans, air coolers, that kind of thing as well. Okay, so go to the venue at the time that you wish to get married at that space, especially when it's outdoor. Okay, so if it's outdoor and you're getting married at 3 p.m., go at 3 p.m. See how it's like. See where the sun sets, where the sun rises, you know. Think about all of those things. Do they have backup generators? Do they have disability access? What happens if something is damaged? Who pays for all of those things? These are all questions that you should be asking. There are about 50 questions. That is why I say get a wedding planner, because you really don't want to bog down your mind and, you know, all of you'll get exhausted in the end. On your wedding day, we can see it, that, okay, this bride probably planned her own wedding. Because the stress will show on your face. So just get somebody designated. But in case you can't, you know, try to think about all of the possible scenarios, you know. If there's a power outage, do they have backup generators, things like that, you know. Think about all of those things. What if you change your mind? Do you get your money back? You know, how close to the date can you change your mind and still get your money back? These are all questions that you should be thinking about and asking. Right.
Okay, we'll take a quick break and we will come back and continue the conversation. Don't go nowhere. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Before You Say I Do, and we're having a conversation on wedding logistics. And of course, in the studio with us, Mrs. Gloria Buckman-Yankson, Creative Director of Planet Ghana Limited. So now, you were talking about, you know, the venue, and you said something very interesting that's kind of like, you know, made me want to ask you this question. How long should it take you to plan your wedding? When should you actually start? Because I hear people say, oh, we started planning this a year ago. And then some people just, we just got up and did it. So how long?
Okay, so know yourself. Know yourself. What kind of bride are you? There are brides that we work with who are very type A. Like they want all of their T's crossed, they want all of their I's dotted.
Very meticulous.
Exactly. If you're that kind of person, give yourself 2 years. Yes.
So wait, sorry, let me start. Be engaged
24 months.
Oh.
Take your time.
Okay.
Take your time. Luckily for us, I mean, here in Ghana, a lot of the times we do the traditional wedding and then we do the civil wedding all together, you know, maybe a week apart. So take your time, do your research, familiarize yourself with all of the different vendors that you would possibly want to hire. Go over all of the different contracts, make sure that you're comfortable, especially if you decide that you want to DIY it. Okay, I know that I encourage, you know, a lot of brides to hire a professional, but some people just want to do it themselves. So if you're doing it yourself and you know that you are a type A person, start as early as you possibly can. As soon as you know that, okay, this is it, we're getting married on this date, start planning. Okay, but if you're a very casual, laid back kind of bride, my favorites,
Just do it.
you know, who don't really like, even if it's raining, they're happy to walk in the rain and kiss in the rain. If you're that kind of person, then I would say 9 to 12 months is okay.
Right.
Okay, 9 to 12 months, because chances are you see the good in everything.
Right.
Okay, so you probably won't get stressed over, oh, I really, really wanted this particular photographer. I really, and I didn't. You probably will be okay to get somebody equally talented,
Right,
equally
right,
skilled. Okay, in which case I would say 9 to 12 months. However, the catch here is if you're looking to get married during peak seasons. In Ghana, our peak season is December. So if you're looking to get married in December, then again, start planning early. Whether you're type A, whether you're laid back, whatever, start planning early, because chances are, if you make decisions quickly, you'll be able to get all of the different logistics that you want. So the venue that you want, the vendors that you have been eyeing for years, you will be able to get all of them. Okay, so if it's a peak season, like December, start planning as early as possible. If it's January, February, those are usually the off-peak seasons. Okay, so chances are all your vendors, the venues will be available to you, and it will also be less expensive. You know, if you're looking to save money, then I would say go for off-peak seasons. But to strike an average, I will say 12 months.
12 months.
Give yourself about 12 months.
Right. So what about people that just like simple things, like just walking into the courtroom?
If you're hiring a planner, you can come in 1 week.
Good.
We will make it happen. We've done that before. We planned a wedding in a week, in 1 week before. And I think it's kind of become our trademark. We kind of seem to be getting last minute clients a lot. It's not something that I particularly encourage, but we get that and we're able to make it happen. But if you're doing yourself, you want everything to be perfect, and there is no perfect wedding, of course. But if you want everything to be as close to the mark as possible, give yourself 12 months.
Right. So how do people actually choose their wedding vendors, such as caterers, photographers, and florists, and all that?
Okay, so number one, put together the vision board. Number two, know how much you want to spend. And number three, start to put together your vendors. Okay, social media is great for finding different vendors. A lot of us, when we're planning to get married, chances are we follow a few planners already. So start to pay attention to the vendors that keep coming up, the vendors that they use often, right? Now, a lot of people tag their vendors in their captions.
Yes.
Look through the captions, have a look at their work, see how you feel about these people. Do not just hire people off of social media popularity. You will no, let's not even go there. Don't hire vendors just off of social media popularity. Some of the best vendors are not even that active on Instagram. Okay, so when you're researching and you found a few vendors that you really like, start speaking to other people. You definitely have friends who've gotten married. Ask them, okay, what vendors did you use? How was your performance? Did you like them? Did they come through for you? You know, how was it like? Start speaking to other people. And then just start looking at what people are saying about their vendors also. When you click and you go, look at the reviews. What are the clients saying? Okay, because a lot of people post reviews. Okay, if they don't post it on Instagram, chances are they'll post it on their website. So go on the website, look out for reviews, see what other people are saying. Because I can tell you I'm fantastic. I can tell you all of the good words, that I'm the best in the industry, right? But if somebody else is saying that, it makes such a difference, because then you know that, okay, she is genuinely who she says she is. She can deliver on that promise. So do as much research as you can. Pick up the phone and talk to vendors. A vendor may be skilled, but they may not quite vibe with you.
Sure.
Okay, especially for vendors who are in your space a lot on the wedding, like photographers, videographers. They're literally in your makeup artists. They are in your face. People who do your hair. pick up the phone and speak to these people. Go in, book an appointment, go see them in person. Okay, see how you feel. Your instincts will always tell you, oh, there's something off. If there's something off, there is something off. Okay,
Right.
so speak to as many people as possible. See how quickly they respond to their emails, how quickly they respond to their DMs. When you put an inquiry through, how quickly do they get back to you? All of these things are indicative of how good that person will be.
Right.
Okay, because they may be skilled, but trust me, the teamwork and customer service should be prioritized above that.
Yeah. So what roles do friends and family actually play when it comes to planning the wedding?
Friends and family always want the best for you, and they will give you a lot of advice. Know to take all of that advice with a pinch of salt.
Okay.
Okay, because everybody wants your best interest, but sometimes it conflicts with your own personal interest. So as an example, let's say you say to your sister, so I want to have only 30 people at my wedding. Hey, why 30 people a day? You know, but maybe that's what you've always wanted.
I actually want to have 10.
There you
Sorry.
go.
Sorry, guys.
Okay, so if you really want 30 people, why does it mean so much to you to have such an intimate celebration? If that's what you've always wanted, that's what you've always dreamt about, and your partner also feels strongly about it, your sister obviously wants a big affair and wants to see all of the fanfare because she wants it to be fun. Maybe that's not what you want. So put together what you want and make sure that whatever is achieved on the day is in alignment with it. Otherwise, you will never ever be
Right.
quite happy
Yeah.
with what you got because it was what everybody else wanted. but
Right.
you-
So now, how do couples actually also work together to make that dream come true? Because, you know, during the wedding planning stage, there's a lot of disagreements. So how would you advise them to work together?
Okay, so get a planner. That is the simple answer. The simple answer is get a professional so that you're not clashing heads over, you know, which vendors to book and how much to spend on reception and cake and whatever. Okay, but the longer answer will be, remember that it's the two of you in this marriage. It's the two of you against the world.
Yeah.
And the world includes family. It includes friends. It includes everybody else who doesn't share the same vision as you do. Okay? So remember that the two of you are a unit and make sure that you are in sync with each other. What you both want, okay? What he wants, sometimes you have to compromise a little bit, okay? Maybe because you want a huge ball gown, but your partner isn't, you know,
Yeah.
he probably won't even know what dress you're wearing anyway till the wedding day. But let's say that for some reason, you know, there's this one thing that you really want that your partner doesn't. Learn to compromise somehow. Learn to pick your battles. Some things are not, like, I remember a couple that we had a wedding for, and the groom wanted to wear kente, like the traditional kente cloth with all of the trims, right? And the bride is like, no, I've wanted a white wedding. I've wanted all of, like, I want you in a suit, a three-piece suit. I want this, that. Why can't you just wear a three-piece suit on our day for me? Okay? And this became a conflict between the two of them. Of course, as a wedding planner, I became the
Intermediary?
yes, mediator of sorts. So I'm in the middle doing couple therapy at the same time, right? So the guy's like, no, I want the kente cloth. And the girl is like, no, I want a ball gown.
So, but is it possible to wear the kente cloth and the ball gown?
And I was like, you guys, you know you can actually do both, right?
Exactly.
Like, why are you fighting over this? You can have both. And so what we ended up doing was we attached a piece of his kente to her train at the back. It was so beautiful and it was so different from what everybody else
Did, yeah.
you know. So just learn to compromise a little bit. What's the big deal? If your husband can wear a three-piece suit because he doesn't feel comfortable in it and he wants kente, make
Why
it
not?
work.
Exactly.
You know, it's just one day. In the end, the marriage, what matters after all of this is that at the end you got married to the love of your life. prioritize that.
Yeah.
Let some of the things go.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you want a 3-tier cake, he wants a 2-tier. Can we still have a really tall 2-tier cake that looks beautiful? Let's compromise a little
Wow,
bit.
people actually even talk about
yes,
the
there's
cake.
a lot of drama and a lot of stress.
Ah, Lord, you just give me a slice. I'm
There's
fine.
there's a lot of emotion surrounding weddings. Because everybody has their opinions, that's what I'm saying, you know, the two of you should be together.
Right. Right.
At the barest minimum, the two of you should be together against whatever else everybody else is suggesting.
Okay, we don't have much time, but like 1 minute to answer this. This is my last question. Are wedding planners expensive, or can you work with any budget given to you as a wedding planner?
No, I can't work with every budget.
Okay.
I have to be honest. If you came to me right now and said, Gloria, I want you to plan my wedding, my budget is 5,000 cedis, I cannot help you. I have to be honest. So what I will say is, are wedding planners expensive? I wouldn't say they are. I mean, it's just the same as I said in the beginning. You could build your house without an architect, but would you want to?
Okay.
Do you see, would it be worth spending 50,000 cedis on an architect to get a house that will appreciate over time, have the dream home that you've always wanted, have everything be on point, have the artisans come together, having good direction? You could build your own home, but would you want to? Okay, you could, there are so many things that you could go into court and defend yourself.
Yes.
But do you really want to?
No. Yeah.
You're so much better investing in a professional who knows what they're doing, who has been trained, who has studied the subject for years. It's taken me 19 years to get here. You can't do this overnight. And that's why a lot of DIY brides end up so stressed, so emotional.
And tired.
I planned my own wedding. At the time, wedding planning wasn't a thing in Ghana, so I ended up planning my own wedding. Today, if I was getting married again, absolutely not. Even as a professional, I would hire somebody else, because you want to be sitting on that stage, that sweetheart table,
And be like,
you know, has the cake, can you push it? You can't do that. So hire a professional who will guide you, handhold you, take you through all the steps. Just sit back, relax, and, you know, let the professional take the friction away.
Right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's been nice talking to you, and I hope everyone appreciated everything that we discussed. Guys, if you have been watching, we were actually we've been discussing about wedding logistics, but how can people reach out to you?
Oh, it's really easy. So on Instagram, our handle is @PlanetGhana, or you can reach me directly @GloriaBachman. And if you want tips, and after all I've said, you still want to do it yourself, go on YouTube. I have so many videos on there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, she's even helping the DIY brides, all right? All right, guys, you heard it from Gloria Bachman-Yankson, who is the creative director of Planet Ghana Limited. It's been an interesting conversation, and I hope you enjoyed it too. And I hope you took notes, so you people that want to walk down the aisle in some days or some months or some, you know, the nearest future, I hope you took notes, because this is a very important conversation to have. Start having that conversation with that special one right now, because wedding planning is really not a joke. This has been Before You Say I Do, and my name is Chris Carter. Bye.